also got it recording for just a second. Before we get going, Z-Bomb Gaming Grower, that sounds like a chill night. Just coloring a fuzzy poster and listening to some podcast recordings. That sounds like some choices were made.
We ready?
We're ready whenever you want to kick us off, Mitch.
And let's take that journey into mystery. This week we're talking about Avengers Age of Ultron from 2015. Like we got to watch this with a group of people over on our Discord last Saturday, and I would say it was a great time. You know, we got to discuss the film a little bit at the end. And going into this one, Ian, do you remember how you felt when you first watched this movie?
I remember I didn't like it the first time around, but
Interesting.
Caveat on that, I watched it coming hot off the heels of reading the Ultron event. So, and that wasn't intentional. It wasn't like, ooh, I got to read the book before I see the movie. That's just kind of how it timed out. And coming into watching the movie, I was like, this ain't Ultron. Like this isn't how it went. Where's Hank Pym? Where's Wolverine? Where's everyone's dead in the future? What is this? And coming back around on it this time, it was a lot of fun. Like if I had given it a chance the first time and not been a comic book fan about it, then I think I would have really enjoyed it the first time around.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the comic book version of the Age of Ultron is a lot different than what we get in the movie, and Ultron himself is a lot different because in the comic book universe, the Marvel Comics universe, you know, Ultron is based off of Hank Pym's brain waves, and he has a much more cold, methodical, scientific like persona, whereas in this one, he's based off of Tony Stark's brainwaves, and we get that line from Claw in the movie where he's like, after Ultron says that line of, was it "Make your friends rich, make your enemies rich, see who gets which," or
see who's left standing, or something like that.
Yeah, and Claw says, "Wait, that was a Tony Stark line. You're just Tony Stark." And he's like, "How dare you say I'm the same as," and then he cuts off his arm like with his own hand. Like I was like, "Oh, that was," which we see later in Black Panther.
And it's awesome because he has like vibranium arm at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a mechanical robotic arm made from vibranium, and then used to make sonics, kind of thing, a sonic blaster.
And the first time I saw, like when I saw this in the theaters, I didn't put together that was Claw. Like I was like, all right, it's just some like skeevy dealer here that Ultron has to go see. I didn't make the connection because I was too worked up about like we're missing some key players in the MCU to make this what I just read. And I feel bad about that. I really do, because I missed out on the wonderful Quicksilver performance.
Yeah, you know, I remember going to the theater and watching that part and just thinking, we've already started seeing trailers for Godzilla where Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen are going to be playing like husband and wife, and like in this they're playing brother and sister. And I know they're actors and it's just acting and it's just different roles. To me, it was just like, because there's already that like baggage of Quicksilver and Wanda having a somewhat incestuous relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
so you're just like, weird.
I chalk anything that involves Quicksilver, like in having any sort of romantic anything to it, as he gets around. He's very fast.
Literally and figuratively.
He's like, I'm with this person. Wait, nope, I'm with this person now, and now I'm gonna have a good committed relationship with Colossus, and now I'm not going to, and we're never gonna talk about that again. And
yeah. So Aaron Taylor Johnson does a very interesting job, and you know, this is coming off of, I don't remember which one was first. Was First Class first, or was this one first? We got to see the other, what's that actor's name that got to play Quicksilver in the X-Men movies? I don't remember which one was first, and I remember a lot of people liking the X-Men Quicksilver.
So Days of Future Past was in 2014.
Okay. So,
And
yeah, he got to play it first then.
yeah, and I
Well, I
like
guess
I like both of them separately, if that makes
yeah,
sense. Like
that makes sense.
the the X-Men Quicksilver that we got from Fox was fun. He was quirky and like, hey, I'm really fast and I could be really good at things if I wanted to be, but I'm just gonna hang out in my basement and not be. Um, but then we get like angry, kind of broody. We get some comedy out of him from time to time, and then we get some actual personality by the end of his appearance in the movie out of the Avengers Quicksilver, and they do different things for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, the Quicksilver I'm used to in the comic books is very much the quote unquote like Euro trash, like I'm so much better than everybody else kind of persona, especially since like, he's the son of Magneto and he knows he's the son of Magneto, so he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of mutant royalty. But this version is more the rebel freedom fighter that we get in the Age of Ultron movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the version that you get in X-Men is more Wally West more than
Yeah,
anything else.
it like super just Wally West, and it's
Yeah.
not a bad thing. It's a really
No.
fun. It's a fun take on it, but I I can't pick a preference between the two because, like I said, they fill different roles for me in that regard, and I don't know. I just can't pick.
You don't have to. We're not here to make you choose.
Don't make me pick.
Unfortunately, we're not gonna get to see him in any more movies. Did you think that he was gonna show up maybe in Endgame at some point?
I thought at least a little bit. Like I don't know because the Mind Stone is there.
And the Soul Stone, like if they were to have done the original version of the Soul Stone, like everybody that got snapped would have been inside the Soul Gem, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where they were being held. So maybe like it's a form of heaven, and Wanda would have saw him there, but we didn't get that. They do a lot of time travel in Endgame, and
Yeah, and
we don't go to this point in time.
it would have been perfect for them to have gone back to send Hawkeye back, and he meets Quicksilver, and he pushes him out of the way of getting shot. Didn't see that coming. A perfect callback. Like
I mean,
that's
there was so much in this movie that is a setup to the death of Quicksilver that to me, I honestly was surprised by the time we got to the end of the movie, and I'm like, well, the clues were there. I don't know why I didn't pick up on it.
yeah. I still think that it wasn't necessary. Like it was to be like, see, anybody can die, but at the same time, it just felt like we have him for a one movie contract. We gotta off him at some point.
Well, I'm sure there was like some kind of deal between Fox and Marvel Studios at that point because they were both using the character of Quicksilver, and they were probably like, well, we'll never say the word Quicksilver or mutant, but we'll also kill him off at the end of this movie, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Um, Malfoy in chat just said WandaVision maybe. Like maybe we'll get him back in WandaVision.
That's a that's very good. I mean, very possible.
I'd be here for that because
Yeah,
I liked his portrayal. Like
I did too. Yeah.
I think my favorite instance of him in this movie is when they're trying to evacuate the city, and he runs into the police station and he's like, y'all gotta go." Like bye, and nobody moves, so he runs back in with an AK and shoots it several times and goes, "Come on!"
I mean, it's a good I mean, yeah, you notice they're, like, not even caring, they're not even paying attention, like, and then all of a sudden, fast dude walks in, runs in, and, "Nah, we don't care," and he comes shooting in, like, I don't think that's gonna get people to evacuate either, really,
You're just gonna
because
have people going, "What?"
yeah, exactly.
Oh man. So,
Evan Peters, that's the other guy's name, the other Quicksilver.
oh okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Thank you.
and both of them in the movie Kick-Ass.
Yes, there was Kick-Ass and his friend.
Uh
um,
Yeah, so I honestly thought by the end of this movie, I thought they were gonna kill off, Black Widow. I didn't think that she was gonna make it through this movie.
I think this would have been a good spot to do that. Like the way that they had her die later was it was a good place to do it. It meant something. She did it
Mhm.
for a reason, and that's a good way to get the red out of your ledger.
Yeah.
But it would have made sense here if she just got. You know what I mean?
I mean, especially since we didn't have at this point, they didn't have any announcements of a Black Widow movie. We didn't know what the I think we knew Civil War was coming up, but other than that, where else was she's gonna fit in? So it was interesting.
Turns out at the bottom of a cliff, that's where she fits
I
in. Went there. Malfoy wants to know, is Wanda ever actually called Scarlet Witch in the movies?
I
I
don't
don't
believe
think
she
so.
is. No, I don't. I think someone might call her witch at one point in Civil War.
I think Thor does it in this movie when she's trying to mess with his mind and he like pushes her away. It's like, you won't get my mind, witch, or something along
No,
those lines.
Hawkeye's the one that pushes. Oh no, you're right because
Because then
he
he's
thought
like,
he.
it won't work on an Asgardian, and he walks off, and suddenly he's back home.
Yeah, and then I mean, obviously that sets up the beginning of Thor Ragnarok,
Hmm.
with Heimdall being like, "Hey, man, we're throwing a party because you fucked us over. Everybody's gonna be dead because of you. But we're throwing a party."
And then he goes, "Yeah, I'm excited for Thor Ragnarok, but that's another episode."
That's a soon to come episode.
Finally.
Um, and yeah, I mean, honestly, this movie also sets up one of my favorite villains of the MCU with Baron Zemo. In Civil War, like it's all that whole movie is a result of this movie, basically.
Yeah, I like that they did that with Civil War, where it's like, "Hi, remember that time that you saved the world? We're still pretty pissed about it."
I mean, it was a giant piece of land coming back at Earth because of something you once again created.
Uh, Retroactively,
I mean, yeah,
Like Tony was trying to be proactive, but it was his reactive nature that made Ultron Ultron.
and once again, I will always say he is completely reactive. Like everything about Tony is like, well, someone just yelled at me about this right now, so I'm gonna be this right now.
So
Like
I'm
that's
gonna do this, and then the next time we see him, he's like, "Hey, I made a new suit so that we don't have to have suits anymore."
um one of the things with the whole reversing the polarities of the drill and the spire and all the other things, like I don't think I'll ever understand what it is. I mean, I know that they're slowing it all down so that when it comes back to Earth, it's not gonna destroy the Earth, crack the Earth in half or whatever, but I will never understand what it is that we do at the end of this movie.
We science.
There we go.
Yeah,
Just
they
straight up
they
Mark Watley science the hell out of it.
they uh they kind of Star Trekked us on that one, where they explain like hyper science terms,
Mhm.
and then they're just like, "Yeah, science, science," and then it works.
What did you think of the addition of, Friday?
I liked it. I think it was a good move. I like that. Crap, hold on, I need to look up something real quick. But I think it was a good move. I liked
I
it.
mean, yeah, Vision being taken out of the suit, or I'm sorry, Jarvis being taken out of the suit and possibly dead, and then created into Vision, and Vision coming up with, "Hey, I'm not Jarvis and I'm not Ultron, I'm something different, so I'm Vision." You see
I'm
the Easter egg of Jocasta being there, which I really wanna know because Jocasta in the comic books is the brainwaves of, Hank Pym's wife, and terrible that I just said Hank Pym's wife and not her actual name. I can't think of her name. Janet Van Dyne, and don't shake your head at me.
gonna
Uh,
shake it.
so it's her brainwaves that's in Jocasta. Does that mean it's Pepper's brainwaves that's in Jocasta here?
Uh, Probably. I mean, if they just took Tony and made Tony Hank Pym for this story, then most likely.
Most likely, right? Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, Friday, played by the actress, oh, what's her name? It's something. It's Carrie Condon. The only thing I've ever seen her in other than this was Unleashed with Jet Li. Like, in it's all I could think about when I hear her voice in this movie. So It's an interesting watch.
I haven't seen that movie. I had to
Have you
like
ever
I had to like really think about if I've seen that movie or not. And I haven't seen it. I will add it to the list.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely. I mean,
there's
if you like Jet Li movies, it's a good one.
I don't know why you wouldn't like Jet Li movies. Do you like slow motion and fighting?
Yes.
Then you like Jet Li movies.
There you go.
um, were you surprised by the James Spader casting for Ultron? Like
I
for the body.
I was incredibly surprised. Like, you see the Ultron move and then talk and then have the mannerisms that you so much associate with James Spader, like, I would be like, I still don't think I'm not gonna say it wasn't good casting because James Spader brings a little bit of gravitas to the role, right? Like, it's a little bit of credibility. Like, you got James Spader to play the
Yeah,
villain in the movie, but it just seems so not on brand
and
for James Spader to
he
do.
seems, because it's James Spader, he seems just ever so slightly non-threatening.
Okay,
Like
yeah,
there's
not physical way, but
in
like
the
I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night and he's gonna be at the edge of my bed kind of way.
and there were so many scenes like I have to say this right now. I'm not taking anything away from his performance. I think he did a really good job. But there were a lot of spots in the movie where I was like, I don't think that line was supposed to be. I think that line was supposed to hit a little harder, like where there was times where he would say something that was supposed to be like, yeah, and I'm gonna kill you about it, but it just kind of came off as like, haha. But I guess
Well,
like he is the brainwaves of Tony Stark, so like that would be kind of how that goes, but it just it missed. Like I don't know.
that's because with James Spader does a line, you would think that I'm gonna kill you about it. Like the kill is the part that's gonna be emphasized, but for him, it's the about. I'm gonna kill you about it. Like what? What? Wait, why is that the emphasized word? Like that doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
I think that sums up what I was missing completely. It's not the threat. It's like
It's the uneasiness. It's
yeah.
it's the uneasiness of the way he does his performance, and I completely agree, and that's why I'm like, I'm sure Marcus McFeely, when they were writing this stuff, they were like, "Oh, this is gonna be a great line," and then Spader says it a completely different way than they anticipated. And they're like, "Well, I'm not gonna to say anything about it. Like,
Are you
it's
gonna tell
James."
James Spader he's wrong?
Uh, do you think Ultron can come back in any way? I mean, he's a computer program, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't he possibly be anywhere? I mean, we throw out this a single line of Jarvis burned him out of the internet. Like that was it, and thus we're supposed to believe he wasn't able to back himself up anywhere. Like it's
Backham's like, oh, I burned him out of the internet. Okay, what about the 80 something percent of Vision that is Ultron?
I do believe it was only 50%, but I get what
Whatever.
you're saying.
Like we have half of Ultron in Vision.
Well, I mean, it's half of Ultron, half of Jarvis, and then like a sprinkle of Thunder God in there.
Yeah. So what's to say Ultron isn't in there going, Jarvis, we need out of this robot prison. And then he somehow gets Jarvis on board, even though Jarvis wouldn't be down. But who knows? Movie magic. We can make a script that says it happens, and boom! Now we have J Ultron back.
Joltron?
Joltron.
I mean, that could definitely be a big part of what WandaVision is also. Like, if she's able to tap into that ethereal, plane where the two of them are duking it out still, in a computer program, but
Yeah,
who's to say that he doesn't show up as Vision later on, or as Ultron later on in a Avengers sequel or something else completely.
yeah. Real quick, chat. Somebody tell me how you would make Ultron and Jarvis one word using Ultron first. so far, I have. So far, I have Jarvis.
Altus?
Ultus. Malfoy said Joltron,
Joltron.
like
I mean,
or Joel Tron.
okay.
Sounds like somebody's like shitty roommate.
Do you think that the fact that like Vision was kind of brought to life by the lightning of Thor that's somewhat of the reason why he's able to pick up the hammer?
That could be. I always thought it was just like his altruistic nature.
Well, I have a theory on, and it comes from this movie of like why it is that no one was able to pick up the hammer at the party. Like, yes, all none of them were worthy. Sure, let's go with that. But what is it that makes you worthy? If you go back to Thor, like he was too full of himself, right?
Hmm.
So his father said he wasn't worthy anymore. So
So
he had to
Tony's out.
humble himself, and thus he was worthy again.
Hmm.
So I think that if you go with Tony and uh War Machine and Captain America, like none of them are able to pick it up because they don't believe they should be able to pick it up. That's why they're not worthy. Same with Hulk. Hulk definitely has all kinds of doubt in his mind, right? Banner has doubt. He there's no way he believes he's going to be worthy. So you get to Vision, who literally was born that day, that hour.
He doesn't know the myth around it.
He doesn't know the difference. He doesn't know that he's not worthy. So thus he's worthy. Unless you just go with Tony and Cap's like, well, if the elevator lifts it up, it doesn't make the
Elevator's
elevator.
worthy.
He's just a computer. He's just a robot. It's not the
Well,
same. So
well,
where do you fall on the line?
I think no, he's more than just a computer. He has the soul. Like he's powered by the Soul Stone.
I mean, is that the same as having a soul? No, wait, it's not the soul stone though.
Oh
It's
no,
the
it's
mind.
not. It's the Mind Stone. I get them confused.
I mean, because he gave him a soul essentially.
Yeah, because it
In the
it made him a person.
yeah. I mean, I
um,
guess that's a philosophical argument there. It's like, what is your soul? Is it your mind? Is it your ability to think?
Chat way on this while we talk about this. Um, no, I like what you're saying there, where he was like just born and he doesn't know the hype and the gravitas of you have to be worthy to wield Mjolnir. He's just like, hey, I found your hammer.
Here, you want this? Because we need to get going.
Yeah, we should we should get going there, bud. And everybody's like, oh my god. And he's like, what? You've never seen a hammer before?
I like the later on where he's like, it's incredibly well balanced, and he's like, yeah, if it's too heavy, you lose it in the backswing, and it just throws everything off.
I think
And you know,
this one is where they started writing Thor well. Like cuz he finally kind of figured out Earth and how to like talk like a person, and he's still like I am Thor, but he has a personality now.
true. No, yeah, I mean, he has and he definitely a more likable personality. Like
Yes.
he's able to be around other people, and he knows, where he fits in amongst them, kind of stuff. And yeah, I think that you come to realize that hey, you can write funny for Chris Hemsworth, and it's going to work. Like you get
Yeah.
the beginnings of that here.
You get the beginnings of it, and I think he's proven like this is where he proved it. Where I think this is like because he only has a couple moments like that throughout the whole movie, but they really shine, and those are the ones that are like, oh no, we can write Thor Ragnarok around it being kind of funny, like we could do that. He'll be able to carry that movie. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, same.
Okay, Malfoy just weighed in on Vision here.
Okay.
Does he have free will? If he doesn't, then his choices aren't up for worthiness. If he is sentient and free to make his own choices, then I think he falls. Yeah, then I think he falls claim to the same qualifications as the Avengers. He's worthy.
I mean, the premise of the whole thing is that Ultron was the first AI. It's the first true artificial intelligence created by man on Earth. Uh, which is kind of a thing that always not baffles me, but I get questioned on in this movie is that what is it that makes that leap for the program to work because Tony even says, "We're never gonna crack this," and they walk away. And then that's when it clicks over, and it's like, "Okay, we found a solution, or a solution was found." Jarvis is even like, "Wait, this wasn't supposed to happen. Let me go get Mr. Stark," and stuff like that. And later on, when Tony and Bruce come back, they're like, "I didn't do anything. Did you do anything different? Like, what was it that made it work?" We never get that answer. Like, what is it that makes Ultron work? Are we supposed to believe that something in the scepter, just like in the what's the stone that's in the scepter? Is it
That's the Mind Stone, because he breaks the scepter to
yeah,
take the Mind Stone out of it.
okay. Yeah, so no, does he?
Yeah, like he takes like the gem out of the scepter and breaks it,
Oh,
and
it's after he uses it on Dr. Cho?
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, is it the Mind Stone that just being an Infinity Gem made it so that it started to work? Like, what was it that did it?
Wolvie says Mind Stone in Loki's staff, which likely came from Thanos,
So Thanos is
who,
the one
yeah,
that made it work? He created Ultron essentially?
yeah, he said the last part of it is who we know is into cyberware from his daughters. So like maybe he has something to do with that. Okay, I need you to elaborate a little more there, Wooly, because I see where you're going, but I need to follow your train of thought a little bit better on that one
Yeah, I
before I
was gonna say I
subscribe.
get like Nebula, like the cyberware kind of stuff. Like he's very intelligent, I get it, but like we don't get a definitive answer of what it is that creates Ultron. What is it that was the catalyst that worked this 1 billionth time of running the sequence?
Um, Malfoy, I think I agree with you there. I think it's just the Mind Stone. Like I think
So
it's the Mind Stone in the scepter is like, hey, we gave you a brain.
But I mean, why didn't it work the first 100 times they ran the sequence with the Mind Stone? Like
Yeah.
to me that's my biggest hang up with it.
Well,
We just don't get a definitive answer.
the Mind Stone is also the thing that made the twins miracles.
This is true.
So it could just have been a miracle that happened there, and we
Which would make sense why the twins were, drawn to Ultron in Sokovia, like when they just show up that one day.
I like that. I liked that angle that they played with that for a little bit, where it's like Ultron is pissed about it, and he wants to tear down everything Tony did, and in the process of trying to save the world, he has to rid everything of humanity. And he's like, "Hey, so you two are also pissed at Tony? You want to you want to take him down?" And they're like, "The."
Yeah. But, I mean, when they share that story of, what it is, why they wanna get back at Tony Stark, like, that was it's such a great story. Like, it's the fact you can sit there and imagine yourself
Oh, it's
being under that
terrifying.
bed and
It's
just waiting for the bomb to go off that's sitting 3 feet away from your face.
it's a terrifying story in the best way for that script to have done it.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
it was Wanda that gave the story, right? Like she's the one that told it.
Well, it's both of them kinda. They both because, it's Wanda's telling the story, and then Pietro comes in and is like, and then you read on the side of the missile, Stark Industries or something like that. Tony Stark is coming to kill you.
Okay. Yeah. I liked them together. I hate that we had to kill Quicksilver off in this one.
I
Cuz
mean,
like
she has to have a motivation, like
she has to have a motivation, but like can't the motivation be, well, we're in this together. You're
I
the
mean,
only family I have.
it's true, but you'd also get to see it. It's an example of how great emotional, like, hurt really powers her, because as soon as he dies, she feels that connection go away, and boom, all those Ultron bots near her just go down. And then you think about that later when Vision is killed. Like, that's another extreme emotional state that she's in, and able to fucking mess shit up then too.
True. Very true. I'm catching up with chat here real quick. Wolvie says, because I asked him to elaborate a little bit. I think it was a Thanos Trojan horse trap. It was always supposed to take over others, like Loki mind controlling people in the Avengers.
Okay.
Um, The
I mean, that
AI, yeah, like the AI was always there. It's what let him take over Hawkeye, and it's also a way to screw over Loki if he tried to screw over Thanos. So like it's the failsafe of the scepter.
I mean, that makes sense because we get our mid-credit scene in this movie is Thanos grabbing the gauntlet saying, "Fine, I'll do it myself," right? Like, so that means his now C plan of taking down the Avengers failed, so we're going to D plan, which is, "Fuck it, I'll do it myself."
Which would have been the best way to just be like, oh yeah, Thanos is in the next one and he's pissed.
Thanos is coming.
Yeah. It's like we get, watch out, Thanos is coming in 8 years.
I mean, it's not that far.
No, but it's like, all right, we got like feels like 10
4
more, like 10
years.
more movies, and then we finally get to fight Thanos the first time. We didn't even get to see.
It's true.
We
You're
don't even
right.
get. I'm not complaining about the amount of movies we have in this franchise. I'm complaining about the amount of time it takes to get there. Imagine if Thanos was like the mid arc bad guy for this.
I mean, who's considered our mid-arc bad guy at this point?
Mid arc bad guy for this one would be Civil War, I think,
Okay.
because it's
I would say
not
it'd be Ultron. Ultron would be our mid-arc.
okay. Fair, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, just imagine if it had shifted a little bit and we get Thanos as like our mid arc, and then we can just go straight to the cosmos and be like, all right, what are the big bads we got out there? Hey, Phoenix, you want to come play? Like,
Well, I mean, if Thanos was our mid-arc, I would have put Ultron as our big bad for the
I I would have actually liked to switch them. I
yeah.
will subscribe to that because by the time we get to fighting Ultron, we have Hank Pym involved,
Yeah.
and we
There's
can get the cold, calculating, uh, actually scary Ultron that breaks people in half because he can.
instead of just breaking his own body, and you like the first time I remember first time I watched that scene where Ultron is talking to a now captured Black Widow, and mid sentence his body just gets destroyed while the new body shows up, the one made from vibranium, and I was just like, whoa, that was very jostling, like, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, so what are you trying to prove here, Ultron? That you're cool with like destroying previous hosts? Are you trying to intimidate Black Widow into giving you information or something? Like, know your audience there, bud.
Yeah, right. And I love the first time Tony sees him after that, he's like, "Hey, you've been juicing? Like, been hitting those steroids a little bit? You seem bigger. You seem puffy," is what he actually says.
Yeah, I don't want to say puffy, and then he gets smacked. Uh, Overall, is this a good MCU movie, or is this not one in your opinion?
I know I remember watching it the first time being like, I guess I not that I wanted more of the film, I wanted more from the film, if that makes sense. Like,
I get that, and I would agree.
yeah. Now on probably my 3rd rewatch of it, and especially knowing like what happens in Endgame, like I appreciate it a lot more, which I seem to have done with a lot of the other movies, like Thor: The Dark World. I appreciate it more because of Endgame. Uh,
If you can
it's
see
just
where we're going, then you can
yeah,
appreciate it a little better.
exactly.
Sorry, I just jumped right in the middle of you there. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. That's what I was waiting for you to say how you felt because yeah,
um,
that's how I felt.
this is only the second time I've watched the movie. I
Okay.
watched it once in the theater, and I was like, kind of missed your mark though. And then I came back this time, and I enjoyed it. I would put this on like the essential roadmap to the Infinity Saga.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, I
there's
mean, you have the creation of a person from directly from one of the Infinity Stones, and then you get the first telling of what the Infinity Stones are from Thor. Like after he goes into that uh crater lake thing with Dr. Selvig, and he's like,
mhm,
"Hey, I know what the fuck's going on.
yeah,
Infinity Stones, man."
it was right there. Why
It was
didn't
there.
I think of it? Yeah. Um yeah, so I would put this on like the essential roadmap to the Infinity Saga, cuz let's face it, there are some movies that you can skip.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's definitely movies you
You
can skip.
you don't need Iron Man 2 or 3.
You really don't, and honestly, if you're just watching for the Infinity Saga, like, in general, you can probably skip a lot of the, origin stories, like, origin story movies.
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest it, but if you wanted just the Infinity Saga stuff, then yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably like I would say you take Iron Man 1
Okay,
and then you go to Captain America
okay.
cuz you need those two set up to be able to get a lot of the rest of it. Um I guess we need like I don't know. I'd have to think about this a little harder to make like the absolute roadmap. I think the last episode of this should be rating and then making the Infinity roadmap. Let me know
Oh,
what you
man,
think.
to come up with a roadmap, I'm gonna be in a dungeon for, like, 3 days for first, trying to figure it out.
Chat, would you guys want to would you guys want to help us make a roadmap for the Infinity Saga of like the essential movies?
It's gonna be the quintessential Geek Elite Media roadmap to the MCU.
Yeah, and then maybe not that same episode, maybe the episode after that or something. We would have we'd have Ian and Mitch's certified list of MCU rankings. Mostly just because I want to beat my head against that wall.
You like to torture yourself, you saying.
Mostly because I want to sit here and go, nah, that's number 23, and you're like, but it's number 2 on my list.
So, I kinda want to talk about, and we don't have to, if I guess that's not where we wanna go with this podcast, but I wanna talk about Joss Whedon. Like, in the MCU, he'd already directed the first Avengers movie. This is his second Avengers movie. Coming out of this movie, there was a lot of news or rumor of him and Marvel Studios butting heads of where the movie should have gone, what they made him put into the movie, what they made him keep in the movie, what they made him take out. It essentially he wanted to make a standalone movie, but they were like, no, you need to add in stuff that's going to play out for the road going forward. And I think a lot of that Thor stuff in the middle, explaining about the Infinity Stones, was the stuff that was added in. But he also got a lot of flack for the Black Widow storyline going throughout this. Like the idea of some of her origin story is shown in this, where in the Red Room, when the final stage of your assassin training is you have to be sterilized so that you never have a child that will ever take you away or distract you from completing the mission, so to speak. You know, I remember there being a big uproar about that, and that happening to her character and stuff like that. So, how do you feel about Joss Whedon in general and his work on this movie?
Well, first off, since we were able to get it done with the Snyder cut, hashtag release the Whedon cut. I want to see what he has to do with this. If he has no like, if he just has complete and total free reign over it. I don't remember that backlash, and I didn't think it was outlandish to have done that with the character.
I didn't think it was either.
Like I want to read into that because I don't want to take too hard of a stance and make myself sound like a monster if I'm not understanding it. You
Right?
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I don't
Yeah.
want to I don't want to make a dumb comment that's out there and completely have missed the point. Um, but putting the warning on this or however you want to say it, I don't see a problem from the knowledge that I have right now.
hmm Yeah, and I think I'm kind of there with you on that. To me, it seemed like she, as the character in the movie, is very distraught by it. She's very upset by the idea of this is something that happened to her, not really her choice, and it's something that makes her feel less than
Yeah.
because because they're trying the storyline is definitely trying to put her and Banner together as a couple.
Yeah. Which I'm here for that couple, honestly. Like we in the MCU, the characters like the characters that have been developed there, I think they work together. We have one dude who doesn't want to be around anyone, and one woman who's like, I probably shouldn't be around people.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
um
And then, when they share that kiss and then she's like, "Hey, I love you, but you know what? I need the other guy right now," and pushes him down that crater, like, the utter betrayal that Mark Ruffalo has on his face as Bruce Banner as he's about to fall down a hole, and it's like, "Wait, what? No." And just it's perfect. It's just great. And then, the Hulk showing up right afterwards is the best.
oh yeah, absolutely. Malfoy just chimed in with, wasn't the bigger issue that she existed to enable Bruce to de-Hulk? I remember people claiming she didn't have agency. And
Okay.
that I can see people having an issue with. Where
But
like
see, I didn't remember hearing that discussion. Like, all I heard was the sterilization thing. But if
mhm.
that makes a lot more sense that, yeah, now she has been downgraded to just a, "Hey, I'm here to service the male character."
Yeah, and that I completely get. And that was kind of shitty because she is a deeper, much more useful character than that.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Most definitely.
that's some Iron Man 2 levels of using Black Widow.
Um, the other thing that I kind of feel like you have to talk about with Joss Whedon because it's in the news as of right now, and it's funny because I didn't remember it from this movie until we watched it this time, but that's only because it's in my mind. Uh, the news story that came out of his Justice League reshoots is that he had a scene being shot where Ezra Miller's Flash falls down on top of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, and his face ends up in her boobs. Like, Gail did not feel comfortable doing the scene. Joss ended up getting a stunt double, body double to be Wonder Woman. That's why her face is away from the camera. Ezra Miller still does the scene where he falls into her chest. Now, you get the same scene later in Age of Ultron when Black Widow goes over the bar and Mark Ruffalo comes with her, and then his face ends up in Scarlett Johansson's boobs. Like, kind of more clumsily of, hey, we're flirting, and then now we're in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, it so for that with the Flash,
Hmm.
um I say if she's not comfortable with the scene, cut the scene. It's not pertinent, right? It's a laugh, it's funny, but if somebody in that situation has beef with it, it's not really necessary. Would that be a Flash thing to have happen? Most likely, because that's just the character. But I'm not gonna sit here and go one way or another about it, because end of the day, actors are people too,
Yeah,
and
and I think, she said she wasn't comfortable doing it. Yeah, she didn't
then
have to do it. He
she
didn't
didn't have to
force her
do
to
it.
do it. They got a body double. Like, should they have kept the scene in? Probably not. But I'm not trying to sit here and make excuses for Joss Whedon, but, like, I feel like Warner Brothers brought him in to do these reshoots and said, "Hey, we need this movie to be 200 times more funny." Like, everybody's complaining that Zack Snyder's DC movies are too grim and dark. We need it to be funny. So he's like, I don't know. I guess I'll throw in a boob joke kind of thing.
And like it's funny. Like you would get a laugh most likely.
And from everybody, general audiences, whatever. But
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not making an excuse. If he's a dirty dirtbag person, then he's a dirty dirtbag person. But
I I I know nothing one way or another of
yeah,
that. As far as it going in this movie, I think it fit.
yeah,
I think it really comes down to whether or not it's a valid point in the movie, and it's not
mhm,
just doing it for the sake of doing it. Like
okay,
I feel the same way about that as I feel like the use of swearing in a movie or the use of nudity in a movie.
hmm.
Like if you're just swearing to be gratuitous about it, maybe write a better script. Like write a smarter script, right? And if you have nudity for the sake of just it being nudity, shoot a better scene.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like there's more to it than just getting people's attention with shock words and boobs.
So what did you think about it's getting back to the actual movie and talking about the film. What did you think about the fact that they early on take out Falcon from the movie by, "Hey, I'm gonna be working on that other thing for us." The essentially saying, "Hey, I'm looking for Winter Soldier. That's why I'm not gonna be around."
I mean, it makes sense, but like, does it?
Yeah, right?
Like,
It's like it
it,
you threw in that line and you brought in Anthony Mackie just to throw in that line, but couldn't like, would anybody have, like, actually questioned it if he wasn't around?
I don't think so. But at the same time, he's an Avenger now. We have an all hands on deck kind of situation.
I don't think he's an Avenger until the end of the movie when they show him as part of the quote unquote new class.
True, at the end he's an Avenger.
Yeah.
Okay. Even then, I feel like this is an all hands on deck kind of situation.
Yeah.
So there's
So
I
where was
feel like
he?
there's no reason for Cap to have not been like, "Hey, that thing you're doing, stop doing it cuz we got to go fight a dude in the sky."
I mean, you know how you're a flyer and all these people are on an island that's going into the sky? Like, yeah, flying would be good right now, kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey, plus he's another body that can get down below the thing and
Yeah.
see what's going on. So you have at that point you have Thor, you have Iron Man, and then you have Falcon. And even if Falcon is just the wingman down there, you have somebody to watch your back, and you have more like stability down there. Because I don't know if I'm Ultron and I know what all of my drones see. I see somebody going down below. All right, we're gonna send like 50 dudes down there. You're not getting to my engines. Like,
Okay, so speaking of characters that got added in this movie, do you think that the Dr. Helen Choi has any relation to Amadeus Choi, the second, I think, second Hulk in the Marvel comics?
I think so.
Really awesome Hulk.
I think so.
Okay,
Like she seems like it's a very particular name to go with.
right?
Um,
Or I'm saying Choi, I think it's Cho.
it's Cho.
Yeah,
Um, like I think it's a very specific name to go with, since we
right,
already have Amadeus Cho. To give somebody else that last name feels like you're pointing in that direction.
right. So, do you think in close future we're going to be getting totally awesome Hulk at any point?
I'd be down.
Okay. Would
I'd
you
be,
wanna see him in the She-Hulk show, or do you want him in something else?
if he showed up in She-Hulk, I wouldn't be upset.
Okay.
I think the shows is where we start introducing characters now.
Yes, I think you're right.
I think the shows are where we start introducing characters unless we don't have a show that they fit into. So like we talked a whole bunch about them last week. I don't think Fantastic Four show up in a show.
Right, but we kinda came up with the, like, we want them to just be
Y-
sprinkled throughout the movies and different
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
but like I'm saying, like they don't show up in a show. They come for the big leagues. Um, but at the same time, using a character I like to bring up a lot, if you were to suddenly have Two Gun Kid, he doesn't get to show up in a movie right away. You gotta you gotta do your time in the TV show before you get any Two Gun Kid hanging out on the big screen.
And you know what? Hawkeye is gonna be the perfect show for him to show up in. Like, "Oh, you could
Let's do
shoot a
it.
bullseye with an arrow, I shoot a bullseye with a gun."
I'm better than you are.
Um, so Wanda, we know that we're gonna get WandaVision out of her.
Hmm.
Ultron, we kinda discussed already. Maybe he shows up, maybe he doesn't. I don't know if there's any other real characters to hash out that came out new in this. Uh,
Not
do you
really.
do you think we get to see Hawkeye's family anymore? I'm sure that we're gonna see it in the Hawkeye show, right?
Yeah, because aren't they setting up his daughter to be?
I don't know if she's gonna be the new Hawkeye, like Kate Bishop. Like, I
Yeah,
if they bring in Young Avengers and they actually 'cause I think the last I heard was Haley Stanfield was in talks to be Kate Bishop. So, there's that. I don't think I mean, obviously, in Endgame, you see him teaching his daughter how to shoot an arrow, which she is, like, young in this movie and then quite older in Endgame, and it almost seems like she's older than her older brother.
I hadn't paid attention to that, but yeah, she is a little like she's a little girl in this movie,
Oh, yeah.
and
Like,
she's
"Hey, where's
like,
Aunt?"
yeah, and then she's like a teenager by the time Endgame rolls around.
Well, that would have been Infinity War because
Yeah,
it's when
because
they
she
get
gets
snapped
snapped.
away. Yeah.
Um, Honestly, I think it'd be a good play if we brought Kate Bishop in to be Hawkeye, and we just left, um, and we left Clint as Ronan.
I mean, I'm sure that's probably gonna happen
Like
because
I'd be here for that because he's gone too far now. He's now doing the Black Widow thing where he's like, I may have overstepped.
I was hurting a lot and did a lot of killing when when everybody was gone.
I was really sad, and the only thing that made me not sad was being angry. And then I used that anger and killed some really bad people. But
Yep.
that doesn't change the fact that I killed a lot of people
Lot of
with a cool mohawk mullet.
people. Can you think of any other characters worth
Mm,
talking about?
I cannot, but now we have the much needed question to be answered
Okay.
in Avengers Age of Ultron. Who would have been Tom Cruise?
I mean, it's obvious it would have been a Ultron. Like,
Ultron as Tom Cruise. We would have had to made him a lot shorter.
he would have been ill, he would have had to been a lot shorter, and then he would have to be, like, wearing aviators all the time, like, kinda thing.
Honestly, that wouldn't have been a bad choice for Ultron anyway. Like
Yeah.
with this style of Ultron, with like the Tony Stark style of Ultron, give him sunglasses. He doesn't need them, but he's like, Thug Life. I wear sunglasses now. I wouldn't have
What
been upset.
yeah, I would say that he would have been I mean, the other option would have been him being Jar or Vision, right? I'm not okay with that.
No, 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 no. Andy changed my mind. Uh, no, I would have put him in as honestly, I would have put him in with Stan Lee hanging out with like war vets drinking
Oh, wow.
with Thor. I would have put him in a cameo role. Like
Okay.
nothing too big, just right in there. Wolvie says Quicksilver should have been like Tom Cruise should have been Quicksilver because all the running.
Yeah. The strain the copyrighted Tom Cruise run.
As
Hey,
much as I
do you
think
think
he was already perfect, Tom Cruise could have been Claw.
I was just thinking that too,
Well played,
and
Malfoy.
you know what? I if Tom Cruise was Claw, we would have never got Andy Serkis's Claw in Black Panther, which is just amazing.
It's
So
fantastic. It's
I can't abide by Tom Cruise's Claw.
no, because then we would have gotten an American Claw,
Yeah, this is true.
and he would have been like scummy American Claw, like Andy Serkis's Claw is scummy Australian Claw, and there's just it feels different where he's instead of being like I'm Tom Cruise, it's more of just like, hey, what's going on there? Like you got stuff I want there, bud. Give it to me.
Scuttlefish, got the big eye. He's got that light and just hypnotizes you. Boom, boom. Like that
Play.
was just a great scene.
So you're not scared? Nothing scares me. Wait, cuttlefish.
um, the one thing that does happen with Claw in the comic books, like since he did all the experimentation with sound and sound waves, he literally becomes a sound wave. Like, so there is a possibility that he becomes an entity of sound in like, not a possibility. There's a precedent, so he could show up again later in the movies. Like that's a thing that makes him a more formidable enemy for Daredevil because you know sound and Daredevil's radar sense. But Do you see them doing something like that in the MCU?
I think so.
Since he died
Downside,
in Black Panther.
yeah, downside is I think if they do something like that, they're gonna crossbones us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Where it'll be like you have to be in the know to know what's going on,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be a real quick one-off kind of thing, and that makes me real sad because Andy Serkis as a Soundwave could be really fun.
Well, he's got other things in the works now. He's directing Venom 2, he's gonna be Alfred in the Batman, so he's got other
Andy
options out there.
Andy Serkis and Robert Pattinson.
That's right.
That's a cast.
Uh,
Malfoy just shared this real quick. Um, Andy Serkis made a rap EP in character as Claw
he did not.
because he thought that's something Claw would do.
I mean, he would. That's what we saw
And
in Black Panther.
I am all the way here for this.
I need you to listen to it and report back.
Oh, I'm gonna Malfoy, if you can track me down a link, I will listen to that and I'll do a podcast by myself on the review. We can post that wherever you want, Mitch.
That will be right there on Patreon since we now have a Patreon and we have people on there giving
I I will do a track by track review.
us money.
Also, because that's a really good place to plug this. Gang, anybody in chat, Geek Elite Media has a Patreon now. So if you like this podcast, if you like any other Geek Elite podcast, go check out the Patreon. Support them in any way you can because we love Mitch here, don't we? And
Hey, you can't say them and Mitch anymore. You're part of it. You're part of
I
Geek.
it's so I've been on the outside for so long. It's habits, man. I've been over here being like friend of Geek Elite.
Nope.
so so yeah,
You're Geek Elite
yeah,
now.
fine. Help support us by
There you
supporting the Patreon. You'll get a bunch of really fun bonus content and access to things early. Um, yeah, I retweeted the link on Twitter a little bit ago, so go find the link, check it out, do the thing, even if it's just like $1, because there's the dollar tier. Anything helps, and we would appreciate it.
very much so. Thank you. Okay, so now going to my list that is on my Twitter of where this movie falls in the MCU as the movies are now. And you know what? Unfortunately, this list is never going to get any longer because we're never going to get to go see movies in the theater again. We're never going to
Ever.
see Black Widow. The MCU is done. So there. Anyways, uh, Avengers: Age of Ultron falls at number 18 out of the 23 movies in the MCU for me.
All right. So that's really low.
Yeah, it's the only thing lower than that is Thor: Homecoming, Iron Man 3, Thor: Dark World, and then Iron Man 2 as the last spot, as we've discussed before.
We have discussed that, and every time you say it, I am shocked that Homecoming is as low as it is on your list.
I mean, the movie gets way too like CW teen high schooly for me. It's just
I'll
there's
give you that.
issues with it.
I'll give you that, but this is the danger we run of having like middle of high school Peter Parker.
I know, and we need to get older Peter Parker already at some point.
We're gonna soon.
I mean, Tom Holland is getting close to what 25, right? He has to
Yeah,
be at this point.
and at what point does he just go, I'm Spider-Man, I don't need school anymore? I'm Spider-Man and I'm smart, and according to Marvel, that means I am science. So
That's true. You're absolutely right. Any last thoughts from the chat?
Let me look back through here and make sure I didn't miss anything. They're still talking about how the Batman's going to be awesome and how Andy Serkis saves every role he's ever been in.
Maybe he'll save Venom too, because that first Venom movie was
it was rough. It was rough. We can eat this guy, right? Shut up, Venom.
Oh, actually, we don't need to worry. There are not going to be any new movies ever made again.
I'm nervous that going and seeing Marvel movies in the theater is gone. It is. Let's just come to terms with that. I don't think that home release is going to hit the same for these movies.
Oh, it's definitely not. I mean, yes, people have much better home theaters nowadays, but it's not gonna be the same as
Nah.
watching it with the crowd, watching it, in,
The group
yeah,
reactions to
yeah,
things,
yep.
like in Endgame, the group feeling of like, oh no 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 no, like that was a feeling that everybody felt at the same time.
I mean, they when the year anniversary of everybody seeing Cap hold up the hammer for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
video again of audiences reacting to it, it's just like, "Oh my god, that feeling." When are we gonna get that again?
You have to have the right household for that.
You do, you do.
Mitch, can I come over for these?
We can. We'll put up little plastic barriers.
I'm, I will quarantine for 2 weeks if it means that I can come down and watch the home releases with you.
I don't see why we can't do this. I really don't. They just have to be able to make the movie so we can watch them at home again.
Right? Oh man. Oh man. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out. It's been a good time today.
That it has been.
It's
It's
been a
been a
really
really
good
good
time.
episode. And just remember when we get to Avengers Infinity War, we'll be doing another group watch.
We're gonna
And
be
maybe tell us when we do these group watches, do you want like our commentary? Do you want us talking about the movie, or do you want us to rather just watch the movie and then talk about it afterwards kind of thing?
yeah, because I will throw it out there. I had a lot of fun being little tiny dude in the corner during the first one. That was fun.
uh
I think I would pay upwards of $25 for a blockbuster home release. Yeah, like paying like $20 to get the release, like so you could watch it one maybe two times
yeah.
as a home
I
release.
mean,
Like I see that being a thing.
like they made you pay $20 for Trolls World Tour when it came out on premium VOD. I think if you get a Star Wars or a Marvel movie or probably even a
Like
DC movie,
35.
it's going to be 35, maybe $40.
Yeesh.
It's going to be harsh, but I mean, you're also probably going to be able to you're going to be bringing in a couple people, right? It's not going to be just you. It's going to be
Yeah, it's gonna be a watch party,
yeah.
like for sure.
Yeah. All
Uh,
right, Ian. So other than on your Twitch channel, where can people find you? Or plug also your Twitch channel.
All right, gang. So if you're here right now, you already know where we're at. We're at twitch.tv/EMFlux. If you're listening to this in the future and you want to be a part of the live recording, it's a ton of fun. Come by twitch.tv/EMFlux. Jump in, join the conversation Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just Arizona time. Just Google Arizona time because
Just
we
what
don't mess
time
with
is
time
it
zones.
now in
Yeah.
Arizona?
So 5:30 Arizona time. I'll tweet about it if the time changes or anything, which means you should also go find me on Twitter at IanFlux12. IANFLUX, the numbers 1, 2.
You can find me on Twitter. I am at Mitchipedia GEM. GEM stands for Geek Elite Media. The rest of Geek Elite Media is at Geek Elite Media on Instagram, at Geek Elite Media on Twitter. Facebook.com/Geek Elite Media is our Facebook page, and geekelitemedia.com is our website. Check out archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts on our network. Check out our Patreon page. It's there.
Hey,
It's new. It's got tiers. There are things that you can get if you donate to our Patreon.
tears is
Also
in
make
levels,
oh,
not crying.
yes, that's right, tier level. Sorry. Also, if you enjoy this podcast, please rate and review us on whatever podcatcher you use so that it can thus spread the word of our network and other people can enjoy us. But until next time, this is Journey into Mystery on the Geek Elite Media Network saying always remember to
Geek
geek out.
out.